Last week we worked on the company business plan and our sales and marketing plan, and this week we're going to look at the personal business plan of the salesperson. So on the link that I sent you on the email from Monday will pull you up to this page in Game Day Coaching. So you have to be logged in order to see it. So make sure you're logged in right here. And then there's a tutorial here, a video about 5 minutes long that explains it. What I've done is I've downloaded the full business plan. There's a separate business plan for home builders, and there's a separate business plan for remodelers. So I've gone ahead and I've downloaded the full business plan for home builders. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through this plan. It's very comprehensive, and you don't have to do all of it if you don't want to, but I'm going to show you the most important parts, and then I'm going to give you some examples and show you, 3 of my clients and how they have taken and personalized this plan specifically for their business. So we will start with the template right here, and you'll notice that there are all these tabs across the bottom. So starting with instructions tab, we recap the prior year. We look at upcoming year number goals, sales budget and absorption. We have our objectives, our goals and tasks, a numbers breakdown, daily schedule, and then major challenges and solutions. As I said before, this is a very comprehensive plan. If you want to fill it all out as a salesperson, great. I think the more planning you do, the more likely your successes are. If you want to do the bare minimum, I'm going to show you what I feel is the bare minimum, and you might end up with something in between. So we'll go through each tab, and if you have instructions, please just stop me or put a note in the chat box, and we'll make sure we get to them. So beginning with, the date is auto-filled here. When you type your name in here on the instructions tab, this will automatically populate in all the other tabs. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. And this just gives an overview of what we're doing on each page. So if you want to go back and just have a reference to what we discussed here today, this is your reference page. So we'll start with the recap of the prior year. This obviously is year 2014. So what we're doing as a salesperson now is we're just looking at how much income did we earn, what were our sales expenses. If you're an independent contractor, you may have had some expenses in your business. What was your income before taxes, and how many transactions did you close? How many hours did you work each week, and what was your average sales price as a salesperson? So we're going to put all that number in there, all those numbers in there. Now, we're going to next look at what was our total purchase agreements written, and then what was the amount of pre-sales versus inventory sales, and what was my cancellation. That's going to get me a net sales. Now let me ask you a question for those of you on here for sales managers. What do you think is an acceptable cancellation rate? And for design build people, cancellations would be people in design. So what do you think is an acceptable cancellation rate? I'm not.
Are you looking for a percentage?
I'm looking at a percentage, right? What would percentage of either plan deposits, or if you're not doing plan deposits or purchase agreements, that would be written and then would ultimately not go through?
You want reality, or you want what goals would be?
I want reality.
75%?
Yeah, I would say that's on the high end. 75% of so you have a 25% cancellation rate then, right, Yvonne?
Yes.
Yeah. So you put 10 people into design, 7.5 are going to go through to contract. Denny, you guys you're not doing plan deposits. You're going right to contract. You put 10 people into contract, and I would say your top performing salesperson would probably have close to a 25% cancellation rate.
We used to say 20%. I was muted a second. We used to say 20%. Our actual was closer to 5%.
Yeah, and so here, this is what you look at for cancellation rate. Mm-hmm. If you're a top performing salesperson, you're taking some tough deals and you're stringing them together, with glue and mud, and trying to get them into production. And what happens oftentimes is sometimes that glue breaks down and the mud cracks and the deal unravels. So the more you sell, the higher your cancellation rate, because all those deals are not going to be, crystal clear deals. They're going to be a little bit muddy. The less you sell, the lower your cancellation rate. So the idea is this: if my cancellation rate is below 10%, if I sell 10 deals and I don't have at least one cancellation rate, it really means that as a salesperson, I'm probably not closing as many deals as I should, because I'm only taking the cream of the crop and putting them through. So cancellation rate isn't necessarily a bad thing. And from a management standpoint, I would say somewhere between 10 to 25% is what you should be shooting for. So go back as a salesperson and look at how many purchase agreements did you write, or how many plan deposits did you write, and then what percentage of those actually went to sale. Make sense?
Yes.
Yep. So here's our cancellation rate. And then the other thing that you want to look at, of course, when you do your sales projections for the upcoming year, is what do you have in inventory right now? So what's in the ground, or what's completed, that's going to carry over and become a sale in 2015. So very, very important you keep track of that inventory, whether it's just at the permit stage, or whether it's under construction or completed. So first thing we're doing is recapping the prior year. Should be pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the upcoming year number goals. Here we're doing the same exact thing as the previous year, but we're just going to project forward. Now, do you remember last week when I mentioned salespeople oftentimes are overly optimistic? Do you guys remember me talking about that?
Right.
Yeah. So, and most salespeople here are going to they're overly optimistic. They're going to overshoot. And if you are going to base, your credit lines, in staffing, inventory, model locations, neighborhoods, based on these projections, you have to take it with a grain of salt. The key thing that each salesperson should be doing prior to making these projections is looking at what is the total market share that they have in the area they're looking at. Each of your micro markets, you have a finite amount of business that you're going to get there in 2014 and 2015. You have limited amounts. So if you find out that a salesperson is already pushing market share, and they come back and say, well, I'm going to go from a 5% market share to 10, or I'm going to go from 10 to 20, you better take that with a grain of salt. And you need to back off here. You need to get realistic with that. Any other questions here on these projections? We're getting a little background noise too. If you guys wouldn't mind muting yourself if you're not talking, that would probably be helpful. The sales budget and absorption if you're going to do just one thing on a salesperson business plan, this is what you want to do. And I'm going to go back when we're all done with this, I'm going to show you some completed examples of this page and how some of my clients are personalizing it. So as a company, you need to make a sales projection for 2014, and it all starts with each individual salesperson needs to make their own projection, and then you're going to lump them together into a company projection. So what I start off with here is looking at myself as a salesperson, and if I have more than one neighborhood, or if the other here is designed that if you are also selling remodeling. Some of you, you will double dip, or you'll do a little bit of both. So if I'm a salesperson and I have specific neighborhoods assigned to me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to project out by neighborhood. If I'm doing scattered lot, I'm just going to go ahead and project, here under my name, because I don't have any neighborhoods in inventory. The first thing I'll project out is units. The second thing I'm going to project out is what is the average sales price going to be, because I want to get an idea of what I'm going to do as units for a company as well as volume. Now here, this will automatically calculate. And by the way, anything in orange here or yellow you need to fill in, and all these have formulas, so they'll automatically calculate. So I'll go ahead and I'll project out. I'm going to do 6, 8, 10, 15, 20, maybe it's 30, 40 units, whatever it is at this sales price. I'll come up with this volume. Then as a salesperson, if I want to say I want to project out what I'm going to make from gross commission income, I can go ahead and put my commission rate in there, and I'm going to get an idea of what that income is going to be. That's going to help me go back to that upcoming year number goals and project forward my gross income. So what you're going to do is have each individual salesperson fill out this top part, and then you'll combine all those into one spreadsheet for your company, and you'll just replace neighborhoods by salespeople, or vice versa, and then just track those moving forward. Now, the second part to this sheet is right here, the projected monthly sales breakdown. So it's great if you say you're going to sell 12, but then when are you going to sell them? That's important too. I need a time. If I'm going to build inventory, I need to time it. If I want to make sure I have some land or some lot opportunities under contract, that really is important as I time my sales. Now, this is part science and part art, isn't it? We all know the spring market is typically the busiest. Right now, the holidays is typically one of the slowest as it relates to actual sales. But we need to have a projection by month. So what I'm going to do as a salesperson is I'm going to go and take my number up here, my total units, and now I will project it out over the months. Or if I'm dealing with multiple neighborhoods, I will project out sales over multiple neighborhoods. Now, if you have not tracked sales on a monthly basis from 2014, I would suggest you first go back and do that. That's a good guidance. It's a good guide, and I'll show you another one of my clients that we've been tracking for 4 or 5 years, and that helps us project forward when we're going to make our sales. So I'll project out by month, and then this will automatically total up over here, and then I will get my annual goals, so by salesperson or by neighborhood. And the last part of this sheet, if I scroll down to the bottom part, is simply where this is what I will use the first week of each month. So beginning the first week in February, if I have a sales meeting or a plan encounter, with my salespeople, or some of you when we meet monthly for our marketing, I discuss, hey, let's go back and let's recap the previous month. So we're going to look at, okay, what was our projection up here? What did we do? And why? And I'll show you some other numbers that you can track as well. So the first quarter is typically one of the easiest to project out because you've got people in as prospects right now, maybe people in design, you have home site reservations, you have standing inventory that's going to carry over, and you can sort of project through. After that, it gets a little trickier. But go ahead and to guesstimate based on what you did last year or the last couple of years based on months is important here. And it's really important as a management tool that if I have a salesperson that's making these sales projections and they're not being met or not exceeded, is I really need to break down and figure out why. Is it my marketing? Is it the leads? Or is it the sales process of the salesperson? And oftentimes it could be a combination of all three, especially if you had someone that had some success from previous years. Any questions here on sales budget and absorption? Okay, most important one is sales budget and absorption. That's your bare minimum. If you're going to do anything, is make sure you get this done. All right, so let me make this a little bit larger. It's easier to see. The next one now is sales goals and tasks. This is a sheet set up where you're going to get a little bit deeper into planning. And this is based on several different books and business plans that I've read for salespeople as to what are some of the most important things that you can write down. As you know, if you're going to have a goal, if you write it down, the chances of you completing that goal, go up astronomically. So the simple fact is we're writing stuff down, even if you only look at it once in January, will help you achieve that goal in 2014. So what I start with out here, and this is a good company exercise if you haven't done this, is values. What are 3 to 5 of your top values? And keep in mind, these goals and tasks should have some influence as with balance. In other words, if part of your goals as a business person next year is to take more time off, and you value your family time or you value your time off, that should be listed on here. I think it's very, very important because it's going to tie into what you put in for a goal and task. So start with those 3 to 5 goals and tasks. And if you haven't done this as a company, it would be a good exercise. You know, in other words, why are you in business today? What are the 3 to 5 of your top values? Then from there, we have a few columns here. So column number 1 is the goal. So we always write our goals in the following format. We're going to write it in the first person, and we're going to write it in present tense. So as an example here, I earn $100,000 in 2015. That would be how I would write the goal, first person and present tense. That's an old Brian Tracy technique. Now the next column here is assigned to. So who besides you is responsible for making this happen? So you as a salesperson, if you need help from someone else on your team, or if you have a sales assistant, you might have more than one name on here. The next is, what is the unit of measurement that's used to hold you accountable to your goal or task? So is it a timeline, is it a dollar amount, or is it a number? Status is if, again, once a month, if you go and look at your goals and you update that and say, hey, where am I at as far as getting these goals met and these tasks completed? And then finally, what's the deadline to complete this particular goal or task? So maybe it's 12/31/15. You want to make 100 grand. Yeah, the deadline to complete is the end of the year. But there might be some specific things, some tasks that you need to complete, you know, in January, February, first quarter, second quarter, that sort of thing. And so you're going to have different deadlines to complete here. So you've maybe heard of the acronym SMART for goals. So specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. SMART. And that's what this is designed for. We want to get very, very specific here. If you want to earn 100 grand, if you want to earn 110,000, if you want to earn 80,000, whatever it is, put that number down here. So the first goal, if we scroll down a little bit, the first goal should always be your sales goal. So your unit of measurement is what you just figured out as your sales budget and absorption. How many homes you're going to sell January through December. Then on status, I can just put where I'm at year to date as I update these. Deadline to complete is going to be 12/31 ultimately, but you've also got a unit of measurement that monthly we're looking at that. So here's our overall sales goal. Now below this would be your tasks. Oops, let me go up a little bit. So your tasks. So in order for you to sell 12 homes, 15 homes, whatever it is, and make $100,000 a year, what are the tasks that you need to do to complete that? So the example of a task could be your realtor outreach program. It could be doing an event once a month. It could be working on your referrals on a weekly basis with the referral manager that we just came out with and making sure you're getting those surveys. It could be making sure that you're doing your follow-up on a timely basis, thank you notes, on a timely basis. All those little things that you need to do in order to ultimately get that sale. So that's your tasks that you're going to put on there. Now, I recommend you're going to have maybe 3 goals. And if you look at this spreadsheet, I've got goal number 1 here, goal number 2, goal number 3. I think maybe 4 and 5. Okay, so I've got 5 total in here. But you might have 2, you might have 3, something like that. What is important to you and what are the tasks that need to be done to complete it? This takes a little bit of time, but it's a great exercise just to go through and think through the year, what's really important to you. And you should be able to do this in probably a couple of hours. And then great. I would say if you can just do it, you're going to be wildly successful. If you look at it on a monthly basis and recap it, you are going to be unbelievably successful. So take that, as you will. And again, it's great if you do it, but at a minimum, get that sales budget and absorption done. Any questions on this particular screen? Numbers breakdown. Okay, so numbers breakdown goes into time blocking. You all have probably heard me talk about time blocking before. And time blocking is, I would say, one of the most important aspects of being a successful salesperson. It's simply being disciplined with your time. And as a salesperson, you've heard this probably heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again. As a salesperson, if I, on average, make a $5,000 commission when I make a sale, and it takes me approximately 20 hours to make that sale, then I'm making $250 an hour. 20 hours of direct face-to-face time with my prospect to make a sale, I make $5,000. So I'm making $250 an hour. So anything that I do that is a task that is less than $250 an hour, I should not be doing. Denny, you and I have had this conversation many a time. My theory is that salespeople should not be handling change orders. They should be following up with prospects. They should be reaching out to realtors. They should be going after past customers and getting referrals. So the numbers breakdown here is simply where a salesperson can figure out, okay, what do I do daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly as it relates to preparation, personal development, prospecting, realtors, and then past customers. Oh, and finally presenting units. So what I do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, all right, well, I want to make sure for hours I'm going to do, maybe 1 hour of market research a week, or maybe I'm going to do 1 hour a month. If I get a report set up in the MLS that I can just run it each month to track my absorption and inventory, I can probably get by with 1 hour per month. So I'm going to put that down here. Okay, sales environment, looking at your collateral materials, your MLS listings, your file preparation, your web updates. How much time am I going to spend on that each day, week, month, or quarter? Education and reading, training and scripting. How much time will I spend on that? This really comes back to you as a sales manager, in that how you manage your business, how you manage your salespeople, and what is priority for you needs to become priority for them. And obviously, if somebody is meeting or exceeding their sales goals, my job as a manager turns into more of a support role. Hey, what can I do to help you keep doing what you're doing? But as soon as my salesperson, or me as a salesperson, as soon as I am not meeting or exceeding my sales goals, I need to look in the mirror and go back and say, okay, where do I need help? Well, a lot of times I need help in this preparation spot. And I need to look at how I'm preparing and how I'm presenting myself within my personal development. So the second one is prospecting. How many follow-up emails and mail and phone calls and events and social media updates do I want to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis? Follow-up emails should be done on a daily basis. Events, we talked about having at least one per month. Social media postings. What am I going to do each day, week, month, or quarter? So you put those on here. Now that's a unit form of measurement. Realtors. So I've got my top 10 list. These are the realtors that I want to make sure I talk to, at least on the phone, if not face-to-face, once a month. These are the people most likely that are going to bring me business. But then the other realtors that are out there, I may have a top 100 list. How many am I going to email daily, weekly, and monthly to stay in touch with? My phone calls, how many do I want to do each week or each day? Mailing and letters and sending personal notes out to realtors. Past customers. We have this great reward manager, and Runa and I have put a ton of time into it, and we're seeing phenomenal results for those of you that have started using it. That's awesome, but it's not going to happen on its own. The idea behind this is, remember, on a referral program is, number one, your highest converting leads as a salesperson are referral leads. So if I'm a salesperson and I'm looking at what am I going to do in 2015 to meet or exceed my sales goals, I'm going to spend a big chunk of my time using, taking that rewards program and leveraging that, to my benefit. So what that means is I need to maybe pick up the phone and call people. Hey, did you get my invitation to join our rewards program? Did you realize you could earn this much money for just simply giving us a lead? I may have to send them some cards and letters. I may, be sending them additional emails. So it's up to you as a salesperson to make your corporate referral program work, that rewards program work. It's going to be a lot more effective when you have someone driving it versus just allowing the customers to respond to your emails that are coming out automatically or corporately. Very important. Presenting. So how many appointments do I want to have each week or each day? First appointments, second appointments, third appointments. How many prospects do I need to get to my lender on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis? How about realtor appointments? How many realtors am I going to meet with face-to-face? A realtor office visit, Yeah, they still happen. There actually is brokers that still have Tuesday office meetings, and they actually will let builders in, believe it or not. On-site events we talked about, again, above, and in personal activity. And then past customer meetings. Taking time to, to go get belly to belly with one of my past customers. Maybe someone that's given me referrals in the past or has been a really good customer. Taking time to keep that relationship going. Encourage them to, take advantage of your reward program, giving them a little thank you note or, gift card or something like that. So this is really having us look at our week, because we all know what happens when it gets busy. Everything, just sort of gets dropped. And what we do, if you've studied the 7 habits of highly effective people, you've got the 4 quadrants. So the first quadrant is urgent and important. That's your fire quadrant. So what do we do when we get busy? We tend to start putting out fires. Why do we do that? Because we didn't spend enough time in quadrant 2, which are things that are not urgent but important. This stuff right here is not urgent, but it's important. If you're going to have a successful 2015, you need to be doing the little things really well. And this is where you're going to plan those out. Any questions here on the numbers breakdown? Okay, so now I've gone and I've put my objectives, goals, and tasks in here. I've done my numbers breakdown. I've done my sales budget for 2015. Now what I want to do is I want to look at my daily schedule. And my schedule, maybe starts at 9 in the morning and goes till 6 at night, and I take Tuesday, Wednesday off, or, whatever it is. But you need to think about these items right here that you want to do, the P's we call them, so personal development, prospecting, realtors, past customers, and presenting. You want to think about that. When am I going to do those in my daily schedule? And this is where time blocking comes in. So time blocking is where you're going to block out time in your schedule, no different than if you're going to make an appointment with a prospect to do these things. So when are you going to do your follow-up? When are you going to do your realtor outreach? When are you going to block time in your schedule to keep appointments with prospects? And prospects, of course, are all ready to make sure that you work around their schedule. But when you tell them that, hey, you know what, I've got time available this Wednesday between 6 and 8 p.m., otherwise it'll have to be Friday, between 3 and 5. What works better for you? You need to tell them when your appointment times are. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule. I get that. But you want to try to make them work with your schedule versus the other way around. Because as soon as you start working to their schedule, your entire week gets blown up and you don't get anything done. So block out this time and open up slots where you do not schedule things in, because you're saving it for those appointments. Any questions on your daily schedule? Okay, and then finally on this one, major challenges and solutions. This is interesting. This is I can't remember what book I was reading as far as business planning, and the person came up with and said, the most important part of a plan is to realize it's dynamic, it's not static. So whatever you plan for in January is going to change in February and March, and it's never going to go as planned. But one of the things you need to be thinking of is, hey, what is a potential major challenge that could come up? What is a potential major challenge that could come up, and how would you handle that? So this is something that may or may not have happened, or maybe it's happened in the past. You're not sure if it's going to happen again. So example would be here would be interest rates rising. What if gas prices go way up? What if the stock market, takes a tank? You can't control any of that stuff. What if that piece of land that you were thinking you were going to buy, someone comes in and buys it out from under you? What are you going to do? What's the backup plan? So just most of these things in here are going to probably be local to you. Local to you. What if there's a road construction that's going to make it hard to get to your locations or your model home? How are you going to handle that? What is the solution? So just some things that have come up in the past. That's it, really, for the plan. Those 7 tabs. Everything works together. Again, the most important one to get done is the sales budget and absorption, but I'm sure you guys can see the benefit of having all of them done, and the even bigger benefit of reviewing that on a weekly basis. Now I want to open it up for questions, thoughts, you like about it, you don't like about it right now, and then we're going to take a look at a couple of examples from other clients. Not everyone at once, please.
It's real straightforward, but I imagine it takes a couple of years to get kind of a rhythm out of it.
Yeah, like anything else, the first time you do it, the second, third, fourth time you do it, the better it gets. Yeah. So that's why I said, you know, again, do the bare minimum, the basics to start with. If you feel like, you know, taking on everything, great. But for sure, just get this screen done at a bare minimum.
These are personal goals, aren't they? They're not reviewed at sales meetings. I mean, it might be between a sales manager and a salesman. But.
Exactly. The personal goals will get lumped into the company goals.
Okay.
Yep. So each one of your salespeople does this, Denny, and then you take that information, put it on one spreadsheet. I'm going to do that next, and then you track it from a company standpoint.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, clarifications, or questions on this salesperson business plan?
So when you were selling houses, did you use this or something similar?
Yes, I did. I use it for myself, personally selling, and when I was managing, you know, about 10, 12 salespeople, I was using it. And I still use it today with the salespeople that I manage. You know, we'll go through this. So it's and I do it myself too for my own business. So it's a great just deep thought process of really thinking about what is important, what's priority, and getting it down on paper. So then when you find yourself with your head spinning in February or March, you know, just you have this documented and you can go back and you can, oh yeah, that's right, that's what I was going to do. I need to stay on task. Or, you know what I thought was going to work isn't working. I need to make an adjustment right now. Just helps keep you, you know, on that straight and narrow. Anything else on this one? So how about we take a look at a couple of different examples. And I brought this up last week, but I'm going to go into a little more detail of this. This is a client of mine who does remodeling and custom building. And then I've got a couple more builder ones I'm going to show you. So on this one, we just created two different tabs. And this is where we took all the different salespeople, we put everything on one sheet for the company. So we took and broke down all the different projects that we were projecting. Again, our unit totals here. We had 54 different projects. What the average sales price was. Looked like our volume projection was $2.365 million for renovation. Salesperson put his commission in here, and if he sells that much, he's going to make about 120 grand. Okay, so nice little income for the year. We figured out our average project we were projecting was about $44,000. So then we go down to, we projected out each month what we were going to sell for kitchens, bathrooms. So our monthly totals are here, and then our total annual are here, and they tie in. And then we can look at by project here. This all ties in to this number. Our volume we projected out each month to that 2.365 million. Then we come down here, and now we're doing our actuals. And these are real numbers for a real company that we have tracked through the end of November. So as you can see, our projection was to do 12 kitchens. We've done 9. Our projection was to do 20 bathrooms. We've done 11. 3 basements. We've done 1 basement. 3 family rooms. We've done 1. Projected 6 other projects. We've done 4. 2 additions. We did 2 additions. And 6 whole house. We did 6 whole house. So far we've done 34 jobs. But here's the difference. Our average sales price was higher than we projected. Right now our average sales price by job is about $75,000. If you remember, we projected up here $44,000. So even though we've done less units, almost 20 less units year to date, or I should say 16 less units year to date, we've already exceeded our sales goals. We're already at $2.55 million. Now, here's something that you can do as well. We added a column in here for difference. So we put our sales volume in each month, and we looked at what we projected for volume and what the actual is. And so each month we know, oh, we're up by 240 grand, or we're down this month by $62,000. So that was something that we added just to personalize this. We also put the average sale on there for each month. So we track the average sale year to date as well as what we did each month. And this gets really interesting. So down here we said, you know what? Going into 2015, less is more. In other words, the more we can focus and specialize on certain projects that, number one, we're good at and we do a lot of, and eliminate projects maybe we're not so good at and don't do much of, the better as a company we're going to be. Now think about doing this if you're a builder for plans. If you have certain plans that you build, you track all your plans and look at what's selling. And when you have plans sitting around that aren't selling, why have them around? Get rid of them. Move them out. Bring in something new and fresh. And builders tend to get real complacent with their plans. So we tracked a couple of things here. We tracked the percentage of total units by type. So 26% of our business was kitchens, 32% was bathrooms, and another 18% was whole house. So 52% of our business was right here between kitchens and bathrooms. And 70% was these three projects. Then we projected we tracked the percentage of annual volume. So 20% of our business was in kitchens, 14% in bathrooms, and another 34% in whole house. Now, interestingly enough, for additions, it was only 6% of our total units, but it was almost 19%. It was more than 19% of our volume. So interesting how that stuff works. And then we had an other column in here. So that's some specifics that we got as it relates to remodeling. Let's take a look at another example for new homes. So this is a company projection. We have two different salespeople in this company, and these are our main neighborhoods, and then we also sell off-site. So we project at the beginning of the year 16 sales. This is our average sales price, so we were projecting almost $13 million for the year. And then, again, we can put in commission rate here if you want to as a salesperson. But here, this is kind of interesting. We put a stretch goal in here. So 16 was a real goal, but if we were to stretch it, what would it be? It would be 19. So then we went and did our projections by project and by salesperson each month, and this is just the initials for the different salespeople where we're projecting them. So we combined those into this for each month. So we came up with our monthly and then our annual totals. Then we come down here to our monthly actuals. So again, this particular location, we had projected 5, we did 2. We projected 0 and 0 here, projected 3 and we did 1. Here we're at 5 and 6. Offsite was 3 and 3. So we are at 11 sales right now. And so right now I'm looking at, okay, let's track design. So how many people do we have in design that we could still sell this year in the next 3 weeks? Well, here's our different projects. So we got 2 in Autumn Ridge, we got 1 offsite, we have 1 Stone Mill, and we got 1 Browns Creek in design. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5 people in design, and I'm looking at where they're at in design, and we're projecting, hey, you know what, we're probably going to pull 3 more sales this year out of that. So that 11 is going to go to 14, and our original goal was 16. So if I exceeded my sales volume, I'm going to be very close there. Now I'm going to track reservations. So by project, how many reservations do I have in there? I'm tracking co-op sales. Right now we've had only 27% co-op sales for the year. It's a little bit low. Why is that? Well, one of the reasons is because we didn't build as much inventory this year, and we happened to sell a couple of models direct without a realtor. What do I have for completed inventory right now? And then here's where I'm just tracking my sales by name and then by salesperson. So I'm putting those numbers there. So that's just another way that you can personalize this, some different ideas of items you can track. And I'm going to show you one more, and then I'm going to open up for final questions. Okay, so this particular build I've been working with a long time. So we have sales goals going back to 09 through 14. So I got 5 years of history here, and this is kind of interesting. We started with doing 12 sales with a volume of about 7.275 million, and this year we had projected almost 19 million in sales in 25. So it's fun to see the growth of the different companies. So same thing I projected here. What I'm looking at now, this is kind of interesting, is this builder wanted to track what do they have under construction, and also from a takedown standpoint. These are takedowns that they need to that they're working with that particular with the developer. And so we did the same projections out here by project. We also did this is a combination of different salespeople on here, and we had 25 for our goals. We're at 21 right now, and after the meeting I had with these guys Tuesday, it looks like we got another 2 more we're going to pull that we are going to probably pull in before the end of the year. So we're again tracking total design agreements, total reservations, completed inventory, and under construction as well. The builder's building a fair amount of homes under construction, and so we're really focusing on pre-selling this. And so each month we review what we had in sales and how we can pre-sell the stuff under construction. But so we're at 21. Even if we get to 23 sales goals, we're going to go back and then we'll recap the volume. And we think that our sales volume, even if we're short 2, is, if you look at, we have a pretty healthy average sales price here, we're probably going to exceed that. Our average sales price was actually higher than $860. So all great information, and guys, I'm telling you, we live and die and and breathe by this document right here. I mean, we're always recapping this, always strategizing, always adjusting our marketing and plan based on what is or isn't happening in this document. So super important you get this done as a salesperson, and even more important as a builder, you collect everything and get it on one document, track it as a company, and then go back and track it individually with each of your salespeople. Final questions on anything that we discussed here today? Does it seem reasonable that you can get this completed and use it here for 2015?
Yeah, we'll start working on it next weekend, our next sales meeting. So
good, and I'll be happy to provide any. And on the one other thing, just as a resource you have, I do have a sample of a completed business plan from a salesperson that has a lot of those fields filled out, so you can look at that, and also a sample of a daily schedule that's filled out there. So use those as references too when you start to put together your own plans with your own people. Any other thoughts, questions, clarifications on anything? Star, you need to say something. I have to have you say something every single meeting, because it's just not right that you're too quiet.
This is Michelle.
Oh, no Star today?
Yes. For some reason it wasn't pulling up on my computer, so I needed to jump on hers today. But this is absolutely fantastic, Rick. I can't wait to dig into it.
All right, good. Well, I'm glad you're excited, Michelle. So I'll be happy to be a resource if you need anything else on this stuff. Just as a reminder, for next week, we do have our December company reviews. So you'll be getting a link to sign up for those if you haven't already signed up for them. And then there will be no roundtable discussion in December because of the Christmas holiday. So we just got one more company review here next week, and then we are done until January. So please email me questions, comments, concerns. If you need any clarification with these items that I put together today, I'll be happy to get you information or clarify anything. And look forward to having you guys use this stuff and work with you on it here in 2015.
Hey, Rick?
Yes.
This is Denny. Last time, maybe it was a week and a half ago, you were talking about your schedule at IBS.
Yes.
Has that been locked in?
Yes, I sent an email out on Tuesday. You should have received an email on Tuesday from me that I need to know this week if you want to attend that management summit. It's for sales managers and owners only. It's going to be January 19th from 3 to 7 p.m., and it does include dinner, and it will be right off the strip.
Okay. I'll find that email.
It went out early Tuesday morning.
Okay.
So, and we'll be following up with you. So we need to know by Friday today so we can get a count, and then we're going to invite some other people. But
okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day and a good weekend. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.